His eyes were covered with gauze, but he could see the necklace on the neck of the girl in the next door women's restroom. His name is Zhuang Rue. Yesterday, he was knocked unconscious by a robber and his eyes mutated after he woke up. The attending doctor wore a thick mask, but in his eyes, he saw a clear face. A friend handed him an apple and his eyes slowly focused.
坏了，
你没吃怎么知道是坏的呀？
He took a bite and the center of the apple was rotten. When Zhuang Rue returned to work, the pawn shop owner fired him for his poor supervision. Mr. Day is a senior industry insider. He personally sent Zhuang Rue off, and gave him a bracelet that he had treasured for many years. Zhuang Rue only took a look. From the material to the craftsmanship of this bracelet, he could see it clearly, even the craftsman who made it. He didn't understand what was wrong with his eyes, so he brought his friends to the antique market. But there is nothing of value here. But the small jar that the stall owner accidentally took out caught his attention.
老板，您这个卖吗？
The stall owner thought he was asking about the crickets in the jar. Finally, he sold the crickets at a high price of 600 yuan, and the jar was given to him as a gift. Then they met a buyer. The man offered a high price of 50,000 yuan to buy his jar, but Zhuang Rue disagreed. Zhuang Rue told them that the jar was not black but red. Everyone looked at the jar and found that there was nothing special about it. At this time, someone called Mr. De. He took out a magnifying glass and observed it carefully. The room was quiet and everyone was nervous. Mr. Day asked the boss to bring copper oil and the finest gauze. After a light sanding, the jar revealed its original base color. This is a very valuable antique, and it can easily sell for 100,000.
这么一宝贝，我600就出了。
The man was very surprised to see this. He directly offered 300,000. At this time, the boss who sold them the jar came in.
兄弟，这葫芦我60万收回，比中间赚了1000倍，可以吧？是吧？
可以了。
哎，80万，80万，80万，可以。
In this way, the two spent a whole morning and easily made 800,000. They continued to work hard and wanted to go to the antique shop again, but this time, he lost everything. The owner of the antique shop sold an antique blue and white jar to a foreigner, but in fact, it was a cheap embryo processed by a machine. Then it was colored on the assembly line in the workshop. Finally, it was buried in the soil to make it look old. After waiting for a few months, it can be sold at a high price to customers who don't know much. The boy smiled contemptuously. He has golden eyes. He can see through the past and present of cultural relics with just one glance. He found that this plate was very unique. He bought it on the spot for 590,000 yuan. Zhuang Rue took the plate to his teacher for identification. Mr. De sighed in disappointment. After the teacher's careful identification, it turned out that the plate was pieced together with fragments. Some were real and some were fake. Its value was no different from that of an ordinary rice bowl. In order to exercise his experience, Zhuang Rue came to an auction house. A high-quality imitation of an ancient famous painting was pushed out. Although it was not an authentic work, it was also a fine imitation. Zhuang Rue's eyes began to focus on the painting, but strangely, what appeared in front of him was another painting. The boss offered 12,000 yuan, but he only had 9,000 yuan on his body, and the other party could not bargain. The elder brother next to him could not bear to watch and gave him 3,000 yuan on the spot. At this time, he did not know that his good deed would be greatly rewarded. After the auction, Zhuang Rue invited his elder brother to his teacher's house to appraise the treasure. Mr. De praised the painting fiercely. The elder brother next to him was stunned.
那您的意思是，这不会是真迹吧？
And Mr. De looked very nervous. He rolled up the scroll and hurried into the house. After Mr. De's research, this painting turned out to be an authentic one. It turned out that during the war, in order to protect national treasures, people would cover the real paintings with fake paintings, and Zhuang Rue only spent 12,000 to buy it back. This would be auctioned for at least 10 million yuan in the market. At this time, the elder brother's eyes were straight.
这话1500万，我要。
But Zhuang Rue shook his head after hearing it. He was grateful to the gentleman for giving him 3,000 yuan just now.
马哥，如果你想要这幅画，我500万给你。
Just now, he made a bet of 2 million with the boss, that he had to find the most expensive item here within an hour. But after some observation, he found that all the items in this antique shop were imitations. It turned out that just a few days ago, his good friend was invited to attend a private auction. When he was showing off to Zhuang Rue on the phone, the person next to him deliberately bumped into him. This caused him to lose his balance and smash the porcelain in the display cabinet. The kind boss told him that it was just a modern handicraft and he could just pay the price. He was relieved. But when he saw the huge amount on the contract, he realized that he had been cheated. It was obvious that this was deliberately targeting him. After returning, he became depressed. Zhuang Rui couldn't bear to see him become decadent, so he decided to help him vent his anger. He made a bet with the boss to find the most expensive item here within an hour. If he found it, he would take it away and would not hold his friend responsible. If he couldn't find it, he would give him 2 million on the spot. The boss was happy when he heard it. He would not refuse such a good thing that sent money to his door. He immediately took out his mobile phone and pressed the timer. Zhuang Rui carefully looked at each collection, but when he went around, he did not find any valuable objects. Seeing that he was at a loss, the boss said that he must look carefully. At this time, Zhuang Rui was also anxious. He said that the boss was dishonest. This room was full of fakes that he used to deceive people. Just then, an important guest came to the store. He was Mr. Gu, the vice president of the local antique association. When he heard that the two were betting, he also became interested and took the initiative to ask to be a notary. At this time, Zhuang Rui found that the boss was very careful when pouring tea. He seemed to cherish this teapot very much. He immediately opened the golden pupil to check. Sure enough, this purple clay teapot was the real treasure.
哎，钱老板，你这紫砂壶不错。
喝水的玩意儿。
Because Mr. Gu's notary boss didn't say anything, Zhuang Rui picked up the teapot and observed it carefully. It turned out that this was a work of a famous purple clay teapot. Not only was it very rare in the market, but it was also of great collection value. And Mr. Gu saw that he knew so much about these things. He invited Zhuang Rui to attend a jade exchange meeting with him next week. He scanned all the stones at the auction and confidently bid 4 million, but a rich second generation deliberately raised the price. This jade soared to 6 million. Zhuang Rui directly bid 8 million. In order not to lose face in front of his woman, the rich second generation gritted his teeth and offered a high price of 9 million. At this time, Zhuang Rui decided not to raise the price, but when he was about to leave the auction, a pile of cheap waste stones attracted his attention. Zhuang Rui directly opened his golden pupils. No one expected that the inside of an inconspicuous stone was actually crystal clear and flawless. Then he pretended to look at it and finally turned around to pay. Zhuang Rui likes this stone very much. And the rich second generation also came over. He mocked Zhuang Rui for treating a broken stone as a treasure. At this time, as an antique, Mr. Gu, the vice president of the association, came over. He picked up the stone and observed it carefully. He also thought that this stone was nothing special, but Zhuang Rui was very confident. He immediately proposed to make a bet with the rich second generation. Then Mr. Gu drew 3 lines on the stone and gave it to the staff to cut. But there was nothing after the first cut. Everyone laughed and thought he was doomed. But Zhuang Rui was not in a hurry. He asked the staff to cut the second cut. As expected, the second cut showed an emerald green color. This color can easily sell for more than 100,000 yuan. But this is far from enough for Zhuang Rui. He wanted to cut the third cut.
别了，价不收。
Because once it was cut, it would be worthless. He insisted on cutting the third cut despite his friend's dissuasion. When the stone was cut, it turned out to be a top-grade ice jadeite. This luck made everyone envious. Someone offered 18 million yuan to buy it on the spot. Zhuang Rui smiled at the rich second generation. The rich second generation was a little embarrassed. He had to bite the bullet and cut the stone he had just bought. Rich second generation was full of confidence. Because his stone cost 9 million yuan, the first cut really produced a top-grade product. Someone offered 10 million to buy it on the spot. Zhuang Rui mocked on the side.
徐总，1000万可以啊，净赚100万。
The rich second generation naturally looked down on the 1 million. He decisively cut the second knife. It was indeed a stone bought at a sky-high price. The price at this time directly tripled. Zhuang Rui at the side continued to mock, saying, "You didn't get any ice jadeite." This also successfully aroused the rich second generation's desire to win. He decided to cut another knife. Once the third knife opened the ice jade, the price could directly reach hundreds of millions. And Zhuang Rui was sure that the rich second generation would definitely lose money. Because before the auction, he looked at the stone with his golden eyes. The inside is top-quality jadeite and is full and warm. It is a pity that this green color is only a thin layer. As Zhuang Rui expected, the third cut made it worthless. The rich second generation's brain went blank. At this time, the rich second generation's face became extremely ugly, and Zhuang Rui returned with 18 million. When Mr. Ma learned that the two were still living in the basement, he suggested that they move to his idol house. Zhuang Rui was embarrassed to refuse and decided to rent his house. But he didn't expect that when moving, he accidentally found the jade pendant left by his grandfather. This jade seemed to be exactly the same as the one on Mr. Gu. Zhuang Rui was a little confused. When the two jades were put together, they fit perfectly. Zhuang Rui didn't expect that Mr. Gu and his grandfather were old friends. At the same time, his grandfather was Mr. Gu's lifesaver. After understanding the situation, Mr. Gu decided to accept Zhuang Rui as his adopted son on the spot, and he planned to pass on his skills to him. The two went to a private jade exchange meeting together. He took out the membership card of the Jade Association with Zhuang Rui's name on it. He closed his eyes and opened his golden eyes that could see through everything. The plain-looking stone in front of him slowly began to give off golden powder. it became clear whether there was jade inside. Suddenly he made a major discovery. He used his golden eyes to penetrate the stone's surface directly. The inside of the stone was crystal clear and full of green. This stone could easily be sold for tens of millions. He secretly told his friends to buy it quickly. When the stone was cut open, jade was indeed found. Everything was under control, and he had no intention of stopping. He found priceless jade one after another. It caused a huge sensation at the jade scene. He was even called the Jade King. Such a big commotion, of course, it would attract the hatred of others. At this time, Mr. Ma rushed in angrily. He said that an invitation letter was required to enter the inner auction. Some retail investors did not even have the qualifications to enter. This naturally did not bother his friends. He directly made 1,000 invitation letters of the same style. Finally, they successfully entered the venue. Zhuang Rui opened his golden eyes to carefully observe the jade inside the stone, and accurately judge the value of each piece of jade. You only need to give a slightly lower price when bidding. Even if you can't win, you can guarantee a profit. Hundreds of people rushed into the scene, which made the rich second generation angry. When he checked the surveillance, he saw at a glance that it was his mortal enemy Zhuang Rui. He angrily ordered his subordinates to grab the notebook from Zhuang Rui. Just when he was observing the stones, someone took his notebook from the side. Soon the bidding started, but he didn't win after several consecutive bids, and the price was only 5,000 higher each time. He never thought that the number 62 who stole his bid was a rich second generation. Mr. Ma was sweating in anxiety. The next second, Mr. Ma's bid won 4 times in a row. He finally let go of his worries. But Mr. Ma always felt that he didn't seem to have bid for these stones. It turned out that Zhuang Rui had noticed it long ago. He deliberately put a fake notebook. All the real stones were bought in the name of Mr. Ma. The fake stones were all on the notebook. Among all the stones being auctioned, Zhuang Rui values number 36 the most. He opened the golden pupil and saw the inside of the stone was as gorgeous as the underwater world. Suddenly a red light flashed and it turned out to be a rare red jadeite. He personally drew a cutting line. After cutting it open, it turned out to be a precious red jadeite as expected. Everyone at the scene applauded. All the rich people have started bidding for it, and the price soared to 70 million.
7000万，这么高？
小意思，
不卖。
The arrogant second-generation rich almost died of anger. In the end, this piece of red jadeite was sold to a jewelry company for 80 million, and Zhuang Rui successfully became a billionaire.